Hello Void, I'm Trin and welcome back to my channel. Today's going to be another kind of like weight healthy related video, and I'm going to share some resources I have found on the internet in the past 2 months that have really helped me grow and encourage me in this like weight loss, weight health journey. With the exception of one is completely free for you to use, and they're just things that help me. They're not going to guarantee weight loss, amazing, incredibly great results, but they're kind of more educational tools. I have a few apps, a couple books, some specific YouTube videos and channels, just things to share with you, get yourself a little bit of an education, filter things through your mind. So if you're curious, give this video a like, dislike, let's go ahead and get rolling. So I'm going to be a little bit repetitive in this video just to kind of have all of the resources in this one video, but the first one I want to share is ChatGPT. I know it's weird, you can do ChatGPT for so many things, but what really got me in the hole was using it as a weight loss calculator, a weight management calculator, figuring out, okay, how much protein do I need a day, how much water do I need today. And yes, you can get these calculators from 100 different sources, but ChatGPT, I like it as it saves your chat history, so it's easy to reference and you can just do it all in one. I also really like ChatGPT for creating recipes or checking nutrition facts of recipes that already exist. And with that comes Pinterest. Pinterest is the tried and true way of finding recipes for me. Yes, you can find them on Instagram and TikTok. I know they exist out there. I'm really not on social media for the most part anymore, with the exception of YouTube, and now Pinterest is my new addiction in terms of finding different things. I still think Pinterest is a really good source for just kind of even getting ideas of what to do. I wouldn't strictly rely on Pinterest and ChatGPT in terms of like losing weight, but I think they're incredibly good tools. I want to switch over to a couple, well, apps in general. So again, being repetitive, it is the Nourish app. Nourish is a company that thankfully does not do sponsorships or hardly any advertising that I see on the internet. I literally just looked up dietitians and nutritionists one day and the Nourish app popped up. So the goal, the kind of money-making part of Nourish is to get you signed up with a nutritionist or dietitian. They are like BetterHelp or any of those like kind of therapy sources where you take a questionnaire and they pair you up with a professional, and if you don't like them, you can switch them. You can switch the person you're working with. I did stop using Nourish mostly because I wasn't really connecting with the dietitian I was working with, and literally I just said you can change people at the drop of a hat. I just felt like in the month that I was using Nourish, I got enough information to kind of continue things on my own. I'm not writing it off completely. I'm hopefully going to go back to Nourish. I'm going on vacation in a few weeks, so I'm thinking like after I get back from the trip, I'm gonna go back to seeing somebody on the app in order to kind of like recalibrate some goals, because I feel like when I started Nourish, I like kind of met those goals. But what I really like about Nourish, and kind of why I'm saying they're air quotes free, is you don't need to see a dietitian or a nutritionist to utilize the app. The app on its own, it's a food diary, it's a food tracker, and it's really emotional and not mental health, but like kind of mental well-being state, because with its food tracking, you just say exactly what you eat. You can include a picture of it, and there's 3 questions that you can have thoughts on. So all are 1 to 10, how hungry you were before you ate, how full you were after you ate, and then how satisfied were you with the meal in general. And there's a little box that you can put in like free-form thoughts. So I really liked that at the beginning, to kind of be more mindful of what I was consuming food-wise and having to stop and think about what I was eating. And okay, it really forced me to stop and think like, okay, how hungry was I before I ate, or why was I eating at the time I did, and then did I like the meal I made in general. And if you are seeing a person through the app, they obviously see your thoughts, so they can reference that when you meet with them. And you can reference that when you meet with them, and they also see it as well. And I will say, for the first few weeks I was using the app, I was really embarrassed by what I was writing down or putting down in the app, because I was going through like just using what I had at home, which was a lot of unhealthy processed food. But I was eating just kind of like get it out of the fridge and freezer. I was like, okay, once these are gone, then I'll start having a healthier diet, which is what happened. And what I really did like about the dietitian I was working with is that she was totally just non-judgmental. Really enjoyed her for that. Just in terms of like connecting on like an emotional level, we just didn't have that. But I think that was a really good starting point. Like literally days before I stopped using the app, they did include hydration into it, so I think that was a beneficial tool. But what I found more beneficial and what I'm using now is, I mentioned in my last video, is Nutrition X, or Nutrition IX. I really like this app, again, because it's free and it's very bare bones. Not bare bones, it's not very aesthetically pleasing, but it gets the job done. So what I like Nutrition X more than Nourish is that Nourish is just, it's a food diary, that's really all it is. But with my makeup tracking last year, I really became obsessed with numbers, and so I really like Nutrition X for that reason, because it does calculate calories. It's more than calculating, it calculates the nutrition of every meal, and it's really good for, it has a wide library of restaurants, so you can look up the app and everything and see not only the calories, which you can see on the menu once you get there, but also the nutrition facts of each product. And with Nutrition X, you can set a calorie goal, and so it will show you, okay, my goal right now is like 1800 calories a day, I think, hopefully. ChatGPT, it was depending, because I was able to figure in my activity level and everything. I'm aiming for about 1800 calories right now, I think. And so on Nutrition X app, on the Nutrition X app, it says like on your homepage, okay, how many calories you consume. This is the workout calories. You can put in your workouts, and it calculates the calories you burned of the workout. And so it has like a bar of like, this is where you are, this is this, and then on the top of the page it shows you the protein, like how much protein you've had, carbs and fats and all of that. And what's really fun at the end of the day is that you can pull up your like stats, and it will show you like a nutrition label of all the calories and all the stuff that you had in the day. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know how vulnerable I'm going to be with showing you a screenshot of that, but that's what I really enjoyed with that app. I find it more incredibly useful in terms of otherwise than the Nourish app. But if you are struggling with an ED, or you're just not ready to face the numbers, which I definitely wasn't at first, I think Nourish was a good starting point for me, and then moving to the Nutrition X app was a new stepping stone. And there is a way to get set up with a coach on the Nutrition X app. I haven't figured that out, but there is a way. You need a code to have set up with a coach, and I don't know that yet, but I also haven't done any research into it. Okay, so those are like kind of the apps and resources. I have a couple books I want to recommend. I haven't dived too much into like nutrition and healthy diet eating. I think I picked a new one on Libby, which is my library app. But the book that really radicalized my thought on food was The Year of No Sugar by Eve Schaub. So she watches this YouTube video, and this guy is pretty much, I could find it, but I also think the guy, just from reading the book, it seems like the video creator was like, you're a little extreme, but whatever, it's fine. And it pretty much convinced her and her family of her husband and 2 children to not eat sugar for a whole year. Because she had 2 small children, they made exceptions. So once a month they would have a dessert cheat meal where they could have as much sugar in the meals they wanted, kind of the struggles, the documents of that, and then each family member chose a sugar exception. So for the kids, the mom forced them, convinced them to make their sugar exception of the year jam, just because of how versatile it is. I think for her, she chose wine, and then the husband did like some sort of condiment. I really think it was ketchup, just things like that. But that book did not convince me to give up sugar. No, but it did give me the push, the encouragement to give up as much added sugar as possible, because it really did point out how much sugar is in so many products, from bread, the pasta, the sauces, the salad dressings. And it just, that for me was just like eye-opening, because you kind of know that in the back of your head that like a lot of food products have added sugar in it, or just sugar in general in it. And so that book really helped me, not the way that maybe most people would have. Spoilers for the book, the family members didn't really notice any huge like differences in their like their lives or diets in this, besides in terms of like cutting out the vast majority of sugar from their diet. But I think the one exception was that they didn't get sick as much. So spoilers, but I think the book is a very good read, even if you're not going to do a whole year without eating sugar. It just is kind of a nice point to step back and think. And for that family, it was really hard for them to eat out because the majority of everything has sugar in it. Another book was This Is Your Brain on Food by Umu Naidu. She is a nutritional psychiatrist. So she is a psychiatrist, she prescribes medication, meets clients, and she's not anti-medication whatsoever. But what she does do with her clients is, okay, here's medications, let's troubleshoot, let's figure them out, but what else is going on? What other parts of your life is maybe a struggle? So she then looks into the client's dietary history, and they start troubleshooting that. She's not making them do like a 180 change, but just saying, okay, let's try this, let's try that. And because of her psychiatry background, she has sections of the book of every chapter is broken down by a mental illness, so depression, anxiety, OCD. She even tackles schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, which she went a little bit harder into that, but I don't blame her. But every chapter breaks down what you should be prioritizing your diet and what foods you should be avoiding. Spoiler alert, pretty much every chapter of the book says don't consume the Western diet. Meat and potatoes. Basically, meat and potatoes is what you should be avoiding as your overall cat distraction. If you hear that Moose is playing with a toy. Just pretty much Western diet is the root of all dietary evil. She doesn't say that directly, but that's sort of the vibes you get throughout the book. She also makes it clear in the introduction, this is not necessarily a book to read all the way through. You know, pick out your mental illness struggle and then go to that chapter. And at the end of the book, she has recipes. I don't really look at the recipes. I don't really care because I have Pinterest and ChatGPT. But she not only goes into foods, but supplements and drinks and pretty much the whole encompass of what a diet is, and just kind of a little bit of advice on what to prioritize and not, depending on your mental illness. So bless you, miss. So I really found those two books helpful. Now I want to lastly touch on some YouTube videos. Just in general channels, I really found Kiana Doherty. I'm going to link all of these videos and channels down below. But Kiana just does like weird, not really educational. She has some educational videos, but she's also kind of included my little world of baffle bait, where I don't get mad by watching these videos. I just, by people's behaviors, like TikTok reaction videos, I don't get angry by it. It's not rage bait. I just watch these videos and I'm just very, very confused on how people's minds work. So she focuses a lot on like weight loss and diet TikToks, if she does cover them. She does recaps on some like specific like UK shows. I think one of the few videos I found is a small series she has called Secret Eaters, which is a show based out of the UK where they like film this overweight family like eating, and they're like, oh, I don't eat that much, and they put cameras in their house and like, you are eating a lot. Let's not lie. So she does commentary on videos like that, and she has like some about the food business and industry, and I like her videos because they're not like overtly educational, and she's not forcing information down your throat. She just kind of brings across of like, this is what's going on, this is some information, take it or leave it. I find her channel to be very entertaining, very baffle bait, and also I've learned quite a few things from that. In terms of exercise, my two favorite channels are Yoga by Adriene. If you want to do yoga, I freaking love yoga. I have not done yoga in like 2 weeks, and my body is missing it, my mental health is missing it, but I really need to squeeze in some time for yoga. But Yoga by Adriene has been my comfort yoga creator. She has like so many millions of followers, and she doesn't upload much anymore. I have found that many like YouTube people don't really upload very often. They more so like group playlists together, but she is just my comfort YouTuber for yoga. I found other channels, but I always go back to Yoga with her by Adriene. I just love her voice and her dog Benji. When I talk about yoga at work, I tell them I don't go to classes, and I'll bring up Yoga by Adriene, and so many people are like, yes, I love her, and I was like, yes, because Adriene is an amazing human being. So she's mostly who I go to for yoga. She has monthly challenges, like 30-day things. You can literally search like yoga. I just love yoga in general because you could do like yoga for meditation, or it's like, I have a lot of back pain, let's do some yoga for back pain, or like hip stretching. It's just, I think yoga is really good because of how versatile it is, and Yoga with Adriene really covers the whole extent. My kettlebell person is Workout by Roxanne. My one beef with her channel has nothing to do with her. I'm thinking that she's in the UK by her accent, but my only beef with her is that because she's not American, is that all of her kettlebell videos are in kilograms for the weight, and I don't know that. I did look up the conversions on some of her videos for the weights, and I was like, oh my gosh, these are way heavier than what I have. Oh my goodness. So in her videos, she has more than just kettlebell videos. She has like dumbbells and I think some other things too. I have kettlebells at home. I've had them for years. I did not go out and buy these in the past 2 months for my health journey. They were things I had. That was a big factor in what kind of this video encompasses, and why I started to become healthy, or what's helped me is that I don't want to spend money on this. I haven't bought any new workout clothes. I haven't bought any gym equipment. I haven't bought a gym membership. I haven't done any of that. Literally, Nourish can be free. It's really dependent on insurance. With my insurance, and I think many others, Nourish, I know going backwards, but Nourish is partnered with a lot of popular, well-known insurance companies. So through their partnership, they work with Nourish, so you can see a dietitian or nutritionist for either free or a relatively low cost. For me, with my insurance, I didn't pay anything. But still, if you're using an app like Nourish, they have like a money back guarantee or something. Like, they won't charge you for an appointment until your first insurance claims come through. And so it's like you have like 3 or 4 appointments, and insurance comes back like, these are $100 a pop. You won't be responsible for paying for that because you didn't know when you had the appointment. And then if you owe money, and they get to pay afterwards. Okay, backtracking. So I haven't paid anything for any of the resources. Nourish, technically, my insurance paid for it, but whatever. So Yoga with Adriene, Workouts by Roxanne are my 2 specific weight loss channels. And then lastly, I want to touch on the channel Diary of a CEO, another huge multi-million YouTube person. So the interviewer, Stephen something, he's also in the UK, that doesn't matter, but he just interviews a bunch of people. Like, these are 1.5 to 2+ hour videos, okay? They're podcasts, so you don't have to watch them on YouTube. They're available on Spotify. I'm sure on other podcast platforms. I've been paying for Spotify since 2015. I am loyal to Spotify. I don't care what happens. I will always be paying for Spotify. So there's multiple, it's not just YouTube that you can view his content, but he interviews people that are well regarded in their field. I don't vet every single person he interviews, so if I wreck the 3 videos I recommend, you find out there have been a lot of controversy or a lot of shit. I'm just saying that I've learned a lot from those people in the videos. So, of course, that video's almost over. Okay, so the first video I want to bring up is the calories expert. Health experts are wrong about calories and Diet Coke. This guy is the person he's interviewing. I'm literally looking up. I didn't take that much notes. Okay, so Steven with Diary of CEO is interviewing Dr. Layne Norton, who is a former powerlifting champion and professional bodybuilder. So he has his own company, his own business, but he also has a doctorate in like nutritional science or something regarding that. So Steven's very selective on who he interviews, usually people that have master's degrees or a high level of education or long-term success in the business. I really liked this guy because he did touch on bullying growing up. He's very vulnerable, very human. It's also what I like about the Diary of CEO people is, honestly, I've only really watched the nutrition and health ones, so I can't talk about all of his videos. I've just learned a lot. Calories Expert is a very good video that I'd recommend. The other one I want to recommend is, this was the one that really sold me on his channel, and it is the Keto Psychiatrist, what keto is really doing to your body. So this doctor or psychiatrist has been treating patients with a ketogenic diet for 10 plus years. She's been on a keto diet for an extremely long time, and she's kind of a forerunner in the science and studying the ketogenic diet regarding physical health, but more importantly, mental health. Side note, see, being schizoaffective, I started kind of digging into a little bit. I've done keto. I did keto like 9 years ago. I'm sure I did it horribly wrong, but in my brain I was like, I'm doing keto. So I've had that kind of like faint recollection in my brain. So when I started thinking about eating better and taking better care of my body, keto was the first thing I go to. And so when I found this interview with her, this doctor, who I should tell you her name, that would be helpful. Dr. Georgia Eady. So she's a Harvard-trained psychiatrist specializing in nutritionist and metabolic psychiatry. She also has a book that's available on Libby, so I haven't read it yet. But it at least put the spot in my mind for it. There is a, side note, a schizophrenic YouTuber called, I think she changed her channel name to Lauren Kennedy West, which is her name, but she has shared her journey of recovering essentially from her disorder by doing a ketogenic diet. I am not on that journey. When I originally was starting to get into health, like this video with Dr. Georgia Eade, I was kind of like, ooh, I should look into dabble into the ketogenic diet and more, take it seriously. I think that video was very helpful just in kind of considering there's more than one way to treat mental illness. This video is largely focusing on bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. She does also tap into ADHD a little bit and how the ketogenic diet could potentially help with that. The ketogenic diet could potentially help with all of these. Obviously, the ketogenic diet is not one size fits all. There's a lot of criticisms on the ketogenic diet. I just specifically found this podcast interesting. I don't know if I'm really, at least right now, at the time I'm filming this video, I don't know how seriously I'm going to actually try keto seriously again. I'm not quite sure I'm ready for that, but it was just a nice thought to put in my head, and I wanted to bring up the video. And the last video I want to bring up is, let's pull it up, the muscle building expert, they're lying to you about workout hours. And this is the one I most recently watched. So this is Dr. Michael Israetel, who's a renowned sports science and nutrition expert. Very interesting podcast for sure. I really liked about this video what I really liked about this podcast is that he kind of makes it easy. Like, he's also a former bodybuilder, so keep in mind of that. But he just kind of breaks it down, because I know for me, you see bodybuilders and I was like, oh my goodness, like their workout routines are insane and there's no way I can do that. And he's just straight up is like, you don't have to do what I'm doing. And he even stands up for diet soda, which I thought was very, very interesting. He's not like supporting it, but he's also like not like saying it's the most evil thing in the world, which I also find informal. I just realized I didn't find one video that I wanted to talk about, so I'll try to find it. But I really liked his video specifically because he, whereas the first person I mentioned was kind of focusing on calories. This person is focusing more on exercise. So what really stuck out to me in this video was him saying that you don't need a full gym. Like, if you can make it to the gym, great. I think gyms for me are still out of my price range, even the most affordable ones. But also, what really stuck out to me is you really just need like 2, 15, or 20 kettlebells to do like a whole body exercise or whole body workout. It's really all you need. And he just really breaks it down, and he simply says, like, literally, if all you have is 20 minutes, you can make things work. He's very human, and really just with all of these, like, the ketogenic diet was very like lofty and kind of like, oh my gosh, this is pretty extreme. But the other two, the calories person and this weight focused, those, like, the two sandwich videos, I find them incredibly helpful in different ways, from a calorie perspective to a fitness perspective. And so these are sources that I found that have been more than anything an encouragement in my health journey. I'm not saying use all of these apps, take all of these sources, watch all these videos, and all of a sudden you're going to become a changed person. That's not what I'm saying. These are just some sources that I found on the internet, mostly entirely free, that you can use to help encourage you, to help you get a little bit more educated. Kiana Doherty is mostly just kind of like a comfort person I like to watch. There's plenty of other channels that you can find on the internet. I'm not saying these are the most credible, most effective, or anything. I just found these sources or resources helpful for me. So thank y'all so much for watching today's video. Give it a like, dislike, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. As always, have joy, and bye!